Put a bit of a chamfer on it there, on the bench grinder there, just a little bit. See if that will make any difference. So still must be a bit more chamfer needed. Yeah, that sounds. I'll go back and do another bit and I'll come back. Okay, that's looking a bit better. It was just the chamfer that needed. Now what can we have? And that is why we do this. Makes it worthwhile. Right there, that is why you pull them. You get it to that point. You get it to that point. Press your brake pedal, press your side brake. That's going to be doing it. Okay. As you saw in the video yesterday, pressing the brakes, doing nothing. I found out the hard way of bringing it down the road as well. The car came around the corner, jammed on the brakes one side, nothing the other side. So we have to work on this here. We'll just give it a bit of a clean. There wasn't any issue with this at all. It tapped off handy. So we'll just tidy up where the whatchamacallit goes, that cast, and we'll turn it in this way. Try to keep the dirt on the table. And I can brush it off. Yes, so we're getting there. This is all going to have to be done on the other side as well. Okay, lovely, lovely. To actually take this rod out, because you have your washer and springs there, take out the Woodruff key. So I'll try him. You can probably sense my reluctance. I will try him. Oh yeah. Okay, right, what did we go with? We go with the least amount of damage first. If it doesn't come out, it's no big deal. It's not going to affect how these brakes work at all. It's not looking hopeful. It is actually moving, yeah. It is moving, I think. It's coming up there. The screwdriver isn't great, but I'm just trying to go the least destructive route. It says he as he grabs a cold chisel. I can reshape this anyway, not for Do I think I could get it out? Yes. I can get it out, surely. I don't know what state it's going to be in when it does come out. Not very important that we get it out now, but if we could get it out, I'd replace the spring in the washer there. No, I'm just going to make heat out of it, so that's alright. It's not going to affect the brakes at all. It is moving, but basically I tap there, it goes down, and tap there, it goes down. It's not seesawing. It's not actually. Not very happy about coming out. That's okay. That's all right. It's not going to affect the brakes. So we'll just polish up the end of that. She'll be getting some new bushings, so we'll just try them for a bit. It's no big deal that didn't come out. We have new springs, they'll go over it there anyway. I was just going to take that out so I could get it through there. It's no big deal that it didn't come off, to be quite honest. So what we'll do here is I just broke off the old spring there. So what I'll do here, I think, I'll pull that forward a little bit. I want to just give that a bit of a clean up there, because it'll be turning and all of that, so a little bit of a clean up on that is on the cards. And yeah, we'll turn it in this way, keep all the dirt on the workbench. We'll put a bit of grease on that, just because it's, as I said, it's going to be moving and all that. So. We're going way over the top here. We don't need to be doing this one, just because it'll all reduce the resistance. The brakes will just work that little bit better. So that's great. We can grease that up when time comes. What I might do, there's no point in me going rebuilding stuff. I'm going to be doing so much cleaning. So there's our bushing. It's actually not that bad. I don't tap them into the back end fully because this is more worn at the end. I leave them out a bit so you get a bit more meat around them there, you know. And I like to, of course, fill the back of them with grease then. So that's just another little tip. When you're tapping them in, don't tap them in the whole way. I usually push in by hand. So what we can do while we're here is clean up this old gasket surface. Well, there's not really gaskets on them, I don't think. Your axle seals are not leaking. The worst will come out is grease, like. So we can give that a quick one. The adjuster over there was fairly solid. I don't know how they were expecting it to work. So I did spray that down and get it moving as well. clean back plenty. Remember, this is all going to affect the load in your bearings. You want all that to be nice and tighten up nice and level. I do this just to feel for burrs basically. Just in case there's a burr from being off before. A whack of a hammer like that could do it. And your bearing just might end up a little bit unhappy for the sake of a couple of minutes. Right, so a bit of gasket on that. We'll try and scrape that off. Yeah, so maybe there were gaskets, I don't know. I don't like them, I prefer shims because a gasket will squash. And a shim won't squash as much. You get a better feel for what's happening then when you're shimming up the end float in the bearings. There should only be grease in here. So I clean way too much here. I don't mind going right in there. Just in case it was to hold something out proud a little bit. That's not what you would want at all. That's most of it. Put on a bigger circular lad and just run around that just where there's a bit of painting and stuff. All it takes is a bit of paint even on your bearing to get uneven pressure. And the same thing, just run over with your sandpaper. You might feel some burrs. This side is a bit worse, alright? Pitting and stuff. Definitely got a bit of water into it at some point. We'll give everything a blow out with the air gun before we go fitting it, of course. Right, that will come in there. Hold that there. Actually, we won't. I'm going to get in the way. reuse the little bit awkward. Right, what way to do this? We'll reuse the washer because we don't have that, whatchamacallit, out, and it's not that bad condition. It's literally just there just to keep that T-piece in. So we'll start here now with our spring. Be a little bit catchy going over the Woodruff key. So where's my little pick gone? There we go. It's a little bit awkward. Poke it over bit by bit. Poke the chodam leis. Take your time with it. There we go. And the last bit of the spring. The hardest one. Right, find the start of the spring, I suppose, would be the handiest. We'll not go under. That's not an option, boys. We're going over that Woodruff key whether you like it or not. What if I twist it? Will that work? Where's the start? There's the start of it there. That come out a bit. Just to get it under is all I want. I winnie then. Come on. Need 2 picks. I'll get another pick. Yeah, so not the most important part, but still one of them parts that. And that didn't fall on the rubber mat. Must have hit it. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it's still working. The red light's still flashing on it. Right. So we'll probably need 2 picks. One to get it started and one to get up. There we go. Just to get it over the end. Thing of beauty. Right, I'll get that on and I'll show you then what it looks like. So look, we're in place there. It's important to have that on because your T-piece there is going to have to be between the 2 brake shoes. So you have to have that spring there to keep it in place. So that's important. So what we can do now is put back on our... I'm right in saying this. In an ideal world, I prefer to put it back on the tractor, but I think this stage of the game I'd sooner do it when I have the use of a vice. I think that's probably going to be the best. Get a good grip on things and all of that, and not be worrying about arsing around there. But it's on the tractor, so that's in. It feels brilliant. I have a feeling that would have went in a lot earlier, only for I was shot. I needed just to take a bit there from where I tapped it out with the hammer. We do have to get this slot. I can find one punch that's too wide. I can't find the black one. So a good strong screwdriver would do it. So we will have to get that open to get on the part. So I'm just going to have to go now and look, see how that goes on. I'm trying to leave it hanging myself in here. But so wait a second, I'll just check this out. I have pictures taken as well. Okay, so we checked out the reference photo there. So it's good to take them. Open the slot, this should fit on handy. Okay. Something like that. push it up well onto it. Not going to make a whole lot of difference if it's, you can always tap it back, and we can finally then put our bolt into it then. When we're happy, we can tighten our bolt when we're happy. Let's see, does this go through? I have to clean the threads on this. Yeah, so we're winning there as well. The washer fell on the ground, but to be honest with you, it's rotten rusty, so I'll get another one. Okay, and then we have our other part that we worked on. That lad there. Checked it. I think we're talking something like that. So yeah, that'll pull. We're looking this one goes backwards. So we're looking at it. That's all we see. Yeah, we see the lad on the top. Okay. So our brake rod is going to be attached to the bottom. Brakes go this way. It'll catch that. It'll turn this. It'll turn the T-piece. It'll widen the two shoes. And then when we just want to use our side brake, yes, it'll pull that. That is it. That is it. So the other part that needs to go into that is this. And we can actually do that afterwards, I think, can we? Yeah, we probably can, yeah. Yeah. Could do that afterwards, but I'm not going to do it now. I don't want to be, I'd have to be in something behind that if I was to do it afterwards. That's not ideal. Just make it a bit more awkward to use. Awkward to handle between now and then. Oh, that was the wrong side to do that on. I think, isn't it? One way will do it. Or does it open it enough to go on? Probably did. No. That's okay. So what way can we do this? Yeah, straight down. Plenty of meat there to don't have to be savage tight either. Don't want to go pinching. And we adjust this afterwards. It's just, there's no Woodruff key or anything, it just literally pinches it. So very enjoyable work when it goes to plan, but you know what, it always does. You make it work. I'm going to put the nut down this time because, no, the nut won't do. Just to stop it getting the weather in and all that. We'll give him a nip in. Remember these weren't the greatest fit now for 11/16 in the world, but we'll be nipping him up anyway because we'll have to adjust him. Okay, that's good. That is really all I wanted to do tonight, was that. So we can take a look at what state the bushing is in here. I didn't even look yet. Yeah. Just muck and dirt, rust. That'll clean out lovely. Dremel go in there and take all that out, push in the new bushing. There could be a bit of a bushing still in there. There is, yeah. You can just see it there. Lovely. So that's going to be A1. So it is A1. Smidge a bit of grease in there now before I forget it. So I'll do that and we'll call it an even. We'll do a bit of tidying up on this, so a bit of where the axle seals are probably about to go on it or whatever. We'll give everything a blow out the air gun, but all of that, we'll clean out that out, bit of oil out the degreaser wipes. The most important thing in here is that is free. This is good and clean. We'll have to give it all a quick going over again, of course, before we go fitting it. Pull all that stuff out there with a wire brush. Do that outside maybe. And the most important thing on this side is, again, plenty of oil in there, get that free. There is a bit of a ball kind of a thing in there, the clicky thing. That's good and clean. Your spring's on holding, pushing your rod into that bushing that's going to be in the back axle. And the very most important thing, more important than that, is that that little knuckle is moving. And you've probably seen yourself, it probably did come out in the video, I'm fairly sure, how seized that was. And seized in the off position basically. So we'll leave it there for tonight. That's Súlagam Gravinch Sultas. I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully it'll help someone who's going doing similar things, because 35, 135, Massey, Bobby Fords and Dex as well, and a few of them. It's all very, very similar. So we'll take up from here tomorrow evening. So slán Tom. Right, so just gave the back there a bit of a clean down, wire brush, blow out with the air gun. And we're all good to go. Everything's nice and loose as loose can be. So we're going to move on to this brake rod here. So let's give it a quick clean down with the wire brush there, and you can see the bits of the pin, clevis pin, and the split pin there. Just a little bit of the head left and that. So that has gone beyond baiting out. We're a little bit too thin underneath here in places as well. I just don't want to go baiting there at all. Especially there, I'm not very happy with that. Something was rubbing that. So I'm going to cut that off level and start drilling, getting that out, and the same at the bottom one. I'm going to go with the less destructive way about things. So I'll come back when I have that cut off and we'll centre punch them. Might even punch through, we'll see, but you just have to be really careful about not bending and breaking this part. It is threaded in as well, so we just want to keep all of this the way it is at the moment, structurally intact. So we'll come back when we've that cut off. That hacksawed level, it's going to start drilling now. This is just true. The chuck is a little bit shagged. So we're going to keep drilling him wider and wider till we get him to a point where it can literally push out, because we just don't have the metal there in this part to be baiting this way. It'll pull the brakes, no problem, but it just isn't going to be strong enough to take the side the whacking I'll be doing on the side to try and get that clevis pin out. So I am better off just drilling, taking your time, the good old fashioned way. Just basically it, go up 2 mm at a time until you have it drilled out. And if I can get away with it, I won't even start trying to whack that old clevis pin out. I'll just put a bolt in instead. You know, like that's probably enough of a hole in it, like, you know, because I'm dealing with these breaker yards, trying to get this part here, and up to 1954, well, before 1954 they only had this little ratchet on them, and this part was way further back. It's just literally tiny bit past that, and this hole would have been further down there. It's nearly impossible for me so far to get that particular part 4 inches long there. They're all about 3. So breaker yards there, you're WhatsApping them pictures of what you want and they're just not interested. Piss and rain, it's cold, they don't really care. They're not going to make a whole lot of money off that part. They have to do a lot of stripping, they're not interested. So same with this part here, you can't buy them new, they're threaded, specific, you know, So I have to try and save what I have here, because I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see how I get on with that particular ratchet, kind of a tooted ratchet kind of part there. So the same with this little lad here, the other side of the clevis. Hey, I'll give him a bit of a clean up. It'd be lovely just to put the vice grips on him there, give him a twist, and out you come. Save a lot of drilling, because you could spend an hour, you know, between the two of these, like. It just goes to show the climate in this country and what it does to metal. Like, that is welded in there. It's where it was actually welded on, like. Chances of getting that out there, and it's not straight either. It's so corroded. It's like kind of wore thinner, like with corrosion. Chances of getting that out are just fairly low now. It's so badly corroded there as well in places. It's very thin. Be very careful now. Otherwise, we could be a brake rod short. I think I do have one of them parts there somewhere, but at the same time, I might just get the angle grinder and snig him, and do the same job. Drill a hole. So this is the safer option. Drill through, and since we don't have any of those clevis pins left, we'll put on a lock nut on that. So that means we don't have to be tightening that up too tight and to be pinching. The last thing we want is to be pinching that, and that goes on there, in through there. So we want to put our lock nut on. Looking there, we actually need a longer bolt. It has to come through there for it to lock. So we'll get a longer one and we'll come back. Okay, so that's the other side done, so we'll do this now. This clevis pin came out nice and easy. If it didn't come out nice and easy, or if it's anyway stiff in this at the moment, image a round file and just do it, because the next person that's take it apart will thank you for it. And that's good. Yes, I don't have a clevis pin for the other end, but I can tell you one, whoever wants to take it apart down the road, if they have to, it's a lot easier to put on a spanner, give it a shot at WD-40 and at least rock it over and back to get it out. So I'm not too fussed about that. I want the brakes functional. So this part is now done. So brake rod, that is done. So I think we can start moving over here. We'll pull out the half shaft seal in there, and we'll start cleaning that up. Shove a bit of a rag into the trumpet housing there. We'll get our drill, clean all around there, all that dirt off it there. It's going to be important to have that nice and flat so that the wheel bearing gets the same amount of pressure all around, you know, put it all around. So we'll pull out that with a nail bar. Doesn't feel bad at all. We have new ones there. So let's get a few tools and get that cleaned up. First things first, out Mach and seal, listen, shell Mach. Just be careful now, don't pull the whole fucking tractor down. That's all we want. She's coming. She's coming, Mike. There we go. Lovely. So drop the camera there and show you what sort of state that's in there. Nothing we haven't seen before. As the nun to the bishop. Plenty of grace anyway. Wheel bearing seems good. It's over there in the parts washer there. You need Plenty of cleaning out there, that's all. Just so that when we use the wire brush and the drill that we're not firing bits of stuff everywhere. Clean up where that whole seal has to go in. Very standard issue stuff. So if you go and put new brakes on the tractor, 35, 20, 135, all of them, you know, and you're working on you see your brake back and you see a bit of oil hanging around, you know. It's worth just pulling the half shafts and putting in new seals, otherwise this will drain oil, make oil into your brakes, and your new brake shoes will just start sliding on in the brake drum then, you know. After wasting time and effort. I've seen them sometimes so bad there, it actually soaked the whole shoe to the point where it's never actually going to grip at all. Remember, they're a friction shoe, like, so you lubricate the really the drum and there's no more friction there at all. So that's cleaned out more than good enough now. So just give her a bit of a clean up there where that whole seal has to go. Quick rub with a wire brush. Make sure that the new seal goes in nice and smooth. It's very easy to you know, put these seals out of shape. Forgot to put any paper in there, but we'll skip that a clean out there now. Other little things, no harm to do as well, just get a bit of sandpaper on the board. Make sure there's no burrs. That's even good enough. You can see a good bit of where water was getting in there, and you can see there was just there, someone was prying there. So all it takes is very little to send these bearings a little bit astray. The truth of the matter is that I probably wouldn't notice, and the owner probably wouldn't notice, and you probably wouldn't notice. But still, it only takes a second to take a little burr out. Yeah, that is even good enough. So it is. So make sure our sealing surface is okay. Give that a last degreaser wipe, and then we'll get ready to tap in our seal. So our new seal is like so there, and the spring is just in the back in here, so that's always into the aisle. You peel that back, it's really stiff, you can just see the spring in there. So spring to the aisle, that's what we want to keep in. So I use a rare wheel bearing collar for this. This one had to be, as you can see, it was off the Ferguson 20 behind you there. So like all seals and bearings, try and just get them in as straight as possible. I'd normally use a washer, a bolt on it. I don't have a washer big enough. A lot of the time with these you just have to kind of go 4 sides, tap each of the 4 sides. Lovely, we're flying in. Lovely, and we're going nice and level. Just check as you're tapping in, run the finger around, feel where it's a little bit proud. Looking good. And try and hit closest to the outside of it there with the bearing collar to its strongest. When she's home, you'll hear the sound change like that. Sounds like she's home. So that's about it. I have a look behind there with a mirror and a torch and just make sure that that's home. And if it is, we'll move on to something else. Using a mirror and a torch is a nice job. I'll tell you why. It saves you baiting. The last thing you want to be doing is baiting, because was it a 35X? This thing was in an absolute and utter state. This seal. And you just can see there that she's sitting up. She's sitting there, right where she wants to be and she's meant to be, the whole way around. So that's A1. So that could have saved a few wallops and maybe just destroying it a little bit. You know, just that check. It can help. Takes 2 seconds. Worth doing. So that's the old seal there. Lovely. So we'll have a look now. I can tell you what I'll do since I'm down here. We'll move over to this, where this bushing is going to be in the trumpet housing. So we'll get our Dremel. We'll get the workshop vacuum there, the Hoover. We'll Dremel that out there with the wire brush, suck it out at the same time. Get that ready for a new bushing and horse in a load of grace, and we might actually be ready to put this half shaft back together then. Okay, there wasn't lights attached to these mud guards. I just lift them straight off because they are a little bit in the way, but that's all right. So I'll get her Hoover going as well. Okay, so we still have the old bit of the old bushing in there, so we'll poke him out with screwdrivers and picks and all that. And yeah, we're not going to send the bushing in very far. We're going to leave it sit a bit proud because it'll sit further up on the shaft here. The end of the shaft there is just a bit worn, so if we keep it up this way a bit, we'll have a bit more mate. So yeah, I'll get a few screwdrivers, small screwdrivers and picks, and I'll try and get that old bushing out. Right, chance a small flathead screwdriver here now. Yeah. So she's peeling up there nicely. So that's what we want. Peel her up and then hopefully pull her out. So you get that under it to start it, and then you're going to need a bigger screwdriver then to do that. Hold it. So that's okay just to start, and it won't be strong enough to bend it. Yeah, and there we go. So the original bushings are actually a lot wider. The new ones are only half the size. I actually should really order 2 for each side. But to be honest with you, it'll be fine. Now, so we've a lot more dirt in there now, I'd say, yeah, since we got that out. We'll hit our hoover again. Okay, that's good. We'll get our bushing, see if that one pushing feels cleaned out nicely. Okay, so our bushing, it's not as wide, but it should be fine. Now, if it's any way hard to push in, on with your grinding head, little grinding head in your Dremel, and just clean it up, because you'll buckle this. If you look at it wrong, it'll buckle. It's too thin. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just come back now when I get the grind. But it's all about the prep work, really, you know. That's what we should have done. That's after loosening a lot. So we'll give that a quick blow out. And chance it for a fit then. Okay. Don't want it loose, obviously, but at the same time, no point pushing it in. There's dirt in there. Yeah, just not 100% happy with that yet. Clean. Smoothing up lovely. Lovely. So we leave it nice and proud. That's where we're going to leave it. That's going to get more purchase on the brake rod. So I'll just go and get some grease and we'll get that much done. Nice helping of grease. Loads. That's what you want to see. There's more of that happening in the world, there'll be a lot less hardship. Lovely. Nice helping of grease. I think that ball has gone beyond safe, but sure, look, we may as well clean our hands on it anyway. Now, so we're making good headway here. I think we're ready to start fitting half shaft. So like, it is only, you know, it's a 2 evening job really to clean up them brake rods and all of that. 2 evening job. Lovely. And then when we do the other side, we'll be able to check the end float then. I don't fit any gaskets on these at all. The shims is all I put on them because there's only going to be grease in there. I don't like gaskets, they can squash. And it depends on how tight you tighten them. So a gasket will keep squashing and it'll take the pressure off. So your end float then can start increasing over time. So your shims are far less likely to squash any more than they already are. So do a quick tidy up here, make a bit of space, and then put them in half shafts one of day and see how we get on with that much. Okay, so I brought one thing I did forget was just to give this a bit of a clean up. So I was in the parts washer, just covering up the bearing below here because I don't want any of that dirt. This is a plastic brush, plastic bristles, just in case anything's using a wire brush. Just going to give all of them a bit of a clean out, a good nick, a little bit of dirt, the bottom part of it there, just where I suppose it wasn't in gear. Just going to loosen all that, and then we can start cleaning that off. It looked like the shimming on the end float was done very well, as the top of it isn't damaged at all. Just go through into each one of them and just clean out that bit of old dirty grease and stuff. For fear there's something in there that shouldn't be there. Won't be too fussy, of course, but it looks to be in excellent condition. And the little lad on top there, that's the one he'll butt against the other one on the other side. It all looks perfect up there. And of course our bearing below is covered there. So that's just what we were at there. We didn't show this, and this is something that I meant to do. So we'll just lift this down. Actually, I don't like that angle there. And we'll start putting in some of the studs. Studs, as we know, are meant to stay in whatever they're in. They're not meant to come out like a bolt. Making sure there's no burrs at all. It does feel good, it's a bit discoloured here and there, but it doesn't seem to be any bits sticking up or anything like that. So I'm happy enough with that. Around the outside there as well, where people could have been crying. So that's all important. We've washed out our bearing, that's ready for new grease. So we've got our shim there as well. So some of these shims can be so badly corroded that you actually have to put them on a sheet of sandpaper and actually flatten. This one's grand, it's a little bit discoloured, that's all I'd say. So we now bring over our studs, and I usually like to have 2 studs in this. Anymore it gets hard to line it up. So the ones I'm going to pick are the ones that had the worst nuts and that we replaced them nuts. So I'm going to run this in right into the end. The reason why we picked the ones with that had the bad nuts on them was for 2 reasons. The treads weren't great up here, and that's actually going to help us to get this in, because that nut's going to be stiff on there, and that'll help us to thread it in without putting a vice grips on it. Well, we can use vice grips anyway, it's no big deal. As soon as this nut starts tightening, then we'll just use the vice grips and get that in the last bit of the way. I want this to go in the whole way down. There's no need for me to put on the washer as well, but anyway, just run it in, give it a nip of the vice grips then, just to get it to seat. I'm going to put one in right across from it, and that'll line everything up, our back plate and our shim. So that's just starting to tighten there. So we'll take off our nut and our washer. Take a look down there and make sure it is fully down. And we'll just grab here nice and easy. Don't want to go scratching around like that. And just run it in the last little bit. That's it. So that's one done. Right? You've seen me do this before. If you watched the 35X videos, we had to do a lot of work. Some of these were in bad shape. And there's our other one there. with the nice Ferguson 20 diesel cylinder head nut on it. So it's just a little tip of mine there now, a little trick I like to do. Strip an engine for parts, keep these, they're lovely black solid nut. We'll thread this lad in now. Nice and easy, not gripping them too tight or anything like that. It would just be too hard to get everything lined up without having a stud or two in this, especially two. They nearly always come out anyway. But they're not as exposed to the weather, you see. Okay. There we go. No damage done to that either. So that's good. So we're good there. Then our shim goes on in there. That's all good. Our bearing's looking lovely and clean. It's a really nice bearing. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So we'll start, before we put it in, we'll horse in a bit of grease in there with our finger, shove it all in, and then we have our grease nipple in to top it up. So that is that. Yeah, I think we can start making our way over now with all these parts and getting them fitted, and our new wheel stud is fitted as well. The thing I did was to make sure the sealing surface was cleaned up, so I just gave it a Scotch-Brite, basically that green kind of scouring pad around it. It's lovely and shiny, you can really see it there. Put loads of grease down into the bearing, we'll be able to top it up with the grease gun, and loads of grease around the sealing surface and more grease on the seal. The more you have, the less chance that seal is going to start wearing. The last thing you do is put it on dry. So yeah, let's start lifting this stuff over and getting it lined up. If you're doing this yourself and there's another set of hands around, it's always good to get the bit of help, because this is awkward. You've got to get this lined up, get the rod in there and all of that in one go. So we'll bring everything over, start assembling and start getting it back together. So half shaft on the ground. This goes down on top. This is why it's important to have this clean. You don't want to be dropping this down and working into your bearing. Nice and easy does it. That's also why it's important to have two studs in, so that you have everything lined up. Your shim is on there as well. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. A little bit off. It does like to go its own way. Nice and easy through the seal. Get rings to the diff there, a bit of a twist if needs be. Okay, which would we need this to be? Some roughly about there. It's hard on the back now, I'm not going to lie. Right. And then that goes in there. We can put our bolt through there. I should have probably done that. You've seen it there now, so we'll get that bolt and we'll come back. We just forgot to put this on, so we'll do that now. Keep everything nice and snug. That's all. Fairly snug there, really. That should do it. Okay. Alright, here should we as well as put this on there because it's only getting in the way. We've our brake rod off anyway, so we'll be able to work all of this fairly handy. going to put a washer on that, but it's a fairly short bolt. I don't want to put shorten the threads any more than I have to, considering it'll have to hold the weight of the person getting on and off it. Okay. And then we can push our spring up on the back of this afterwards. I just want to make sure that's all okay there. And then we'll be able to adjust how high this pedal goes. Okay, so that's good. We have our studs poking through here, right? So we're winning. So sometimes what I do there, if I don't have space to get washer on, is I start pulling them through without a washer. That should just pull things nice. One on top, one on bottom, nice and level. Always a good idea though. Hey, that should pull everything together nicely. Give it the odd spin there, make sure she's in gear there, I'd say, is she? Yeah. Make sure everything's okay. Yeah. Let me take this out again. That's probably enough there. Well, too tight, otherwise the whole bloody stud will come out again. Lovely. So that's what I do. I just take my time. So that's good. We have our spring washer on. Now room for a spring washer on that. So we can start threading these in. Threads feel perfect in fairness, they're going in lovely by hand. Another one below it. Always a good idea as well, just to get as much of them in, get all of them in before you go tightening them up, just in case it's slightly misaligned. It can end up being a nuisance. Yeah, some of these are a little bit misaligned yet. So that kind of thing. We'll move you around here so you're not looking at the same old place the whole time. You've seen this loads if you've watched any of the videos in the past. It's just worth taking the time. So is that one a little bit, that's not as happy going in. That was the nut that we said we were having problems with. It just wasn't playing ball. Coming off. Don't mind one of them being like that. Push them towards the top. So that isn't lining up yet. Give them a little wiggle there again. Just a matter of catching them. Being awkward, get them in first. Right, so that's flying in. Find your 3/8 is nearly the best. I just want to make sure now, are we right here now? We are. Sometimes you can put these on a whole wrong, you don't realise the reference. Okay. Now your 3/8 drive seems to be the best for just tightening them up. Give them a final nip at something else. It's just a half inch, this catch here and stuff. and she doesn't be turning straight then. Okay, and then the one on top here, nice strong bolt, nice strong nut. I'll go the other side now, it's a bit dark there. I like to have a nice strong one on top and a nice strong one on the bottom. That's exactly what we have here, especially on the bottom. That's where you're going to have water, big drip of water sitting for a while, and manure or dung and any of that. That's always a good idea. Put your best one on top and bottom. Especially on the bottom, because it does want to kind of, with the weight, loosen there. And it's worth checking these for tension every now and again. I've seen it getting loose, where your spring washer was completely flat and it wasn't actually keeping the tension. Or maybe gaskets and stuff like that. I just don't bother with the gaskets. It's only going to be grease in there if you have a new seal, you know. It should only be grease in there. Yeah. Okay, so this lad here is a bit, it's the nut that we weren't very happy with. So we'll take our time, get him home now. Now we'll put our extension bar on and give all these a proper nip. Well, that's all I'll do with him. Get the extension there now, give him a nip. I don't know if there are torque settings for these, to be honest with you. Oh, probably is. I just use a bit of common sense, I suppose, really. Not going to get a torque spanner in here. I'm not going to mine in here anyway because it's too wide. So just give them a nip. Check them at the odd time. Call it maintenance. They were loose on my Ferguson 20 diesel at home, alright. That's too loose to do, so we'll do the one behind here. Don't need to go nuts on them obviously, but it's not the heaviest tractor in the world now, but at the same time, we are going to make sure they're snug. And one more in there, needing a bit of tightening first. A lot of people use impact drivers these days. I don't know what I like to be using on these nuts. They're not too bad in some cases. I find the impact driver can just be a little bit harsh on the treads. Now, if anything, I like to give the one below a bit more of a nip and the one on top a bit of a nip. If you're going to go nuts on any of them, pardon the pun. Now, that's it. Yeah, I'd say this is shimmed very well. Just feels perfect. Definitely not too tight. It's definitely not too loose. You can't really say about the loose until you've done the wheel off, because they can be a little bit bowed when they're on the holding weight in half shafts. Okay, so that's where we are. Lovely. So the next thing is to start putting the brakes together. We got our grease in there, we got our grease in our other end of the brake rod. Feels perfect, really, really good. Pure free. So yeah, we probably have to do a bit of work on one of them brake shoes now.